Good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for coming to this month's Lunch and Learn. We did shift a couple of things around just because you guys are getting into the busy season of the holidays. We wanted to go over couponing or coupons before you guys really needed to have that information for doing maybe turkeys for Thanksgiving or whatever you guys are looking at. So we did shift things around. Like I said, this week will be couponings. Next month will be item batching, and that one will be on November 20th because of the holiday. So I am going to pass it over to Jen. She can go ahead and start with coupons. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat in the meantime.
Thank you, Christina, for that introduction. Like Christina said, we just thought that this made a lot more sense. We switched it around so that way you get the coupon webinar before the holidays hit, so that way you have enough time to get these set up. I'm going to go through and show a few example coupons. These are coming from requests that we've gotten on our help desk and requests that we've gotten actually on the project team for assistance setting up. So figured that this would be some good information to go over. I'm going to start with 4 main coupons that I'm going to go over how to set them up. I'm going to show how to set these up in Triversa. I am going to pull over SMS Pro just so that you can see the corresponding fields that I'm filling out. That way, I know a lot of you are still running SMS Pro. A lot of you are switching over to Triversa, so that way you kind of get both of them. And then I'll also show you how it looks when it rings up at the lane. So to start with, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Triversa, and going here, I'm under the manage, I'm going to go under items and master. So I just want to kind of start and highlight this really quick before I jump into the actual coupons. There is a section in Triversa specifically for coupons. So this has been something we've gotten requests a lot on over the years, is I would just like to see just my coupons, or I'd like to run some reports on coupon matching and what's going on in my store. They have actually sectioned that off right here. So there is a section under the items. It's a little bit easier to find this and be able to just look at what your coupons that you're wanting to look at and work on in the system. So similar to if you've been on my other webinars, going into item maintenance, coupons would be a search. So you could come into here and do a search for different coupons. You could put in the code, the offer code, it calls it. It's also the UPC code of the coupon, descriptions, the sub-department it belongs to, categories, report codes. If you're looking just for the store coupons or vendor coupons, you can stack this kind of criteria coupon type. All of that's available for you to be able to search your coupons. And this will only search your coupons. It won't look at your regular items. And then right here, the all will just pull up all the items that are flagged as a coupon, whether they're store or vendor, that will come up. And then new, this would be where you could set up a new coupon. And then, like I said, the coupon matching report is a report that you can see what coupons have been run for the specified time period. So I'm just going to hit all just so I can kind of make it a little bit easier. So these are all the coupons I have in the system right now. I do a lot. I do a lot of testing in my lab. So the ones that I want to go over today is I'm going to do $1 off per pound with this purchase, limit of 20 pounds. So this would be a good one for turkeys or for hams that you may be selling that you want to give the customers a discount. You could raise these purchase limits, it could be $100, $200 purchase limits, whatever you want to use of this. Hopefully that would help. I am a little generous in my lab, I know that. Another one that I wanted to go over, I'm going to go over today, is another one that's similar, $1 off per pound, but instead of having a minimum purchase with this would be if you're running like a frequent shopper program and you want them to have like 500 points. So this one, they could accumulate those points over the weeks and have 500 points. They can come in and redeem those to get the $1 off per pound. Another one that we get more and more is what we call a pick 5. You don't have to pick 5 for this. It just seems to be what we get the most of. So this would be if you wanted to kind of bundle together for everything together to sell it for one price. So this would be by turkey, stuffing, rolls, mashed potatoes, and pie, and you get that for $30, the bundle price. It doesn't matter what the prices of all the items are. They're bundled together, and here's how much you have to pay for them. And then the last one is just a pretty basic one, but something just seems to come, like getting away from the whole idea of turkey and hams. It's just like a BOGO. First, if you're doing stuffing, I'm using as an example, you buy one stuffing, you get one free. So just kind of a more basic coupon, but some of the smaller not, I guess, side items you may be selling, you might want to run some promotions on. So like I said, to start, I'm going to do the $1 off per pound with a minimum purchase and a limit. So in Thriversa, if you're setting this up in Thriversa, you're used to setting this up in Pro. It's usually an item that you need to set up. It's still an item, and like I said, I'm going to pull this up in Pro. Don't worry about it. So you can see what it looks like in Pro. But with coupons, they created its own table, so that way you don't have to go through all of the steps of creating the price table, the POS table, and the main item table. You can just open up a coupon table. So I'm just going to come down, and you can click on Edit, and you can get Coupon, and this will pull up the coupon table, and all of those fields have been ported over into this one table. So makes it a little bit easier when you're setting this up. So this coupon, like I said, it's going to be $1 off per pound. So when you're doing this in Thriversa, you have some options on the value type. You can set it up as cents off, cents per weight volume, percent, buy X, get Y free, bundle price, and no discount. This is a slightly new option. I don't want to say you can do this outside of Thriversa, but that cents per weight volume is something that it's now an option. What it does is actually turn the scalable flag on the item, but like this makes a little bit more sense, and you don't have to remember to do that. So now you just have to say cents per volume. The discount part, this is a little misleading. It's not cents, it is a dollar amount. So I do want to take $1 off per pound, per weight. I haven't set I guess it is per pound because I marked it per weight. I do want this to be electronic. You have some options. Electronic means that this will come off when all the criteria is met. So the cashier doesn't have to remember to key in a code. That would be manual. It's not going to print a coupon they can redeem later. As soon as the criteria is met, it'll say this coupon is valid, and when they hit subtotal, it will trigger this coupon to come off. So I'm just going to keep this as electronic. All items need a subdepartment, so I happen to put mine in subdepartment 80. You can change that subdepartment. It is a drop-down menu. You can search in here, so if you have a coupon or whatever subdepartment you want the funding for this to come out of, that's what you would put there. And then the code, I made this an item code 8. I'm going to show you at the very end here, like just how you would set up a brand new item, and it will actually generate a code for you. So, but I did just give this a code of 8. And then just a POS descriptor. I usually try to keep my descriptors pretty specific to what I want the coupon to be. That's $1 off per pound with $50 purchase, limit of 20. Down here is where you have your criteria. So I always forget that it will open immediately. I always think it's a double click. So these are the 2 pieces of criteria that I want this to meet. So every purchase, 0.1 weight of item, this specific item code. So I'm just going to go ahead. This will open it up. So what this is, this is only going to be on one specific item. This item code 201235, type 2 code. It's an item sale. I want the minimum measure to be a weight, and that weight to be 0.1. So as soon as they purchase 0.1, that'll qualify this to be in this coupon. R is going to be, I want this to be multiplied because I want this to come off more than once. I want it to come off per pound, so I'm basing that on validated criteria. That's what R means. And I want to make sure the discount affects this item. This is what I want this to come off of. That $1 per pound is on this item. And then down here, it just gives you every purchase of point, and it kind of just gives you a description of what you're already putting in here. So it just kind of writes it out for you. And we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. And then the other one is the total sales. It says $100. I want it to do $50. So I'm just going to go ahead and double click on that. And I see this is where I had up here, I set the total sales. So you can, I want it to be a total sales. The totalizer 3 is your net sales, so that will self-populate, so that's usually fine. I want it to be the measurement of dollars and $50. So what I did with this one is I did a manual description, and I set it to 100. I was originally going to do $100. I had not come back and adjusted this since I changed it to $50. So that is not actually having anything to do with the criteria up here. It was just that I had typed in a manual description of total sales of $100. So I just need to update that to $50, so that way it looks right down here. It is not confusing. Going over to details. This is how we set up the details of the sale. So is this a store funded or vendor funded? do you want it to affect your net sales? Are you going to get reimbursed for this coupon? If you're not getting reimbursed, it's store funded. If you will be getting reimbursed, it's vendor funded, and then that would not count. This store sales will affect your net sales. Vendor sales won't, because the idea is you'll be getting refunded from a reimbursed by a vendor. The choices for this are to put it under the regular price field or the sale price field. I personally always do the sale price field, so that way the start and end date actually will trigger it to stop at the end date. If you were doing a continuous sale, you could put it under regular, so that way it never ends. So for mine, I did it under sale. I did the start date of the 20th, and the end date is November 21st. And then down here, that quantity limit, like I said, I only want to get this 20 to come off on 20 pounds. So that's why I set up the quantity limit. So I'm going to go over some of these in a later coupon, so I'm just going to skip over them for now. And then the descriptions, just some descriptions if you want to put that in there. This should look pretty familiar if you're used to looking at things in Pro. Your main item descriptor, brand size, so you can fill these out if you would like or not. It's up to you. And then when you're done, you can just click on the little save icon and save that coupon. So just so you can see what this coupon looks like in Pro, I'm going to pull Pro over right now. Oops, sorry, it's not clicking and dragging. So this is the coupon in Pro, so it's PLU8. This is the same exact lab, so you can see it's a $1 off per pound with $50 purchase. If you were, and down here is the POS description. So there's that electronic flag, that store coupon flag. Here's everything I just set up under the sale column, the $1 off with a limit of 20. That's a limit by transaction. So if you are setting this up in Pro, putting the limited quantity up here for 20 is not enough. That is turning on a flag for limit by transaction. So you need to come down here to the method, and you can either type in LT if you remember it, or you can come down here and just check mark limit by transaction. Of course, I just unchecked it, and that is telling it that is a limit by transaction. You get that limit of 20 pounds. And then down here is the same criteria that we just went over. There's that item sale with that item in there, and I have 0.01, and that match with this item and multiply using criteria, and the total sales of $50. Just so that you're aware, you see the one here, I didn't have to do that in Ravyx. There always has to be something in the code field, so you just have to have a total sale. Just put something in here. I always just put 1, and then you would just put the $50 over here. The 1 is actually irrelevant. There just has to be something in that field, or it will throw an error. The other thing I just want to make sure I point out, the scalable flag, this is that cents off per weight volume. So the coupon has to be flagged as scalable in order for this to come off as a cents per pound. The other thing is that the item must be flagged, and the item must have the correct price per pound for this to work as well. So I do have the item pulled up here as well. So just so we can see that, we're just going to stay in Pro for the moment. We can look at this in a moment in Ravyx. But this is the correct price per pound. It is $3 per pound, and the item has to be marked as scalable. Get this question pretty frequently when they're setting up a sale for ham, for turkey, and they want to do it off per pound. The system has, you get those pre-printed labels, or you print them off your deli scales, whatever the case may be. That's fine, but if you don't have the correct price in the system for the correct price per pound, the system doesn't know what that would mean. So if you have a $12 ham and you don't have the right price per pound, some people put a penny, some people put $1, because the system will read the price off the tag for type 2 UPCs. But if it's reading that $12 off the tag and you're doing it so much off per pound, it needs to know how much it is per pound to calculate. So, oh, $12, that's 4 pounds. So you get it off 4 times. It needs that correct price per pound. So this is just something I do see quite a bit, so I want to make sure I highlighted that. So let me bring over my lane, and you can just see. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my item. So it's 201,235, and I'm actually going to stick with the $12. So it's always embedded at the end. At the $12 is the price in there that's embedded. So that's my item. This shouldn't come off. Oh, I have print receipt turned on. So that's not going to come off because I still have to meet that other line of criteria. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop in $50. And once I do the $50, it's subtotal. It's going to calculate 4 pounds was in there because $12 was 4 pounds. I got $4 off, and it will come off automatically at the subtotal. So that was the first coupon I wanted to go over. The second one was, like I said, this is geared more towards if you're running a frequent shopper program, just so you can see what a similar sale would look like if you're running a shopper level, a points program, and you want to use your shopper levels and points to give a discount. So right here, it's $1 off per pound. I have not shopper level for 3 and 500 points. So again, like I said, I'm very specific with my descriptions. You don't have to put that in there. You can put whatever makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my coupon table. And yes, that's what happens sometimes. I was playing around with I was looking at this, I was playing around and testing a little bit before. So it's cents per weight volume again. So you want to come off $1 per pound, so it's 1. And I want this to come off automatically. Whenever you're doing a $1 off per pound, $1 off per weight, 50 cents per pound, it's always best to do this as electronic if you can. It calculates properly then, because there's a lot of calculation that's done with the the cents per weight, however you want to put that. There's a lot of calculation that's done. So electronic is the one, it does all that calculation at subtotal when you have electronic. If you do a manual coupon, I usually suggest we can work with you on that. You can do a manual coupon that triggers the sale, so the cashier has to enter that in, and that's another line of criteria for the electronic coupon to actually do the work. And if you, like I said, if you wanted to set something like that up, so you want the cashier to manually have to type in the code, you definitely call in and work with help desk or our team, and we'll just show you how to do that. You just make that item a coupon, and you just make it a non-discountable, or you just make it like a $0 item, and that's the criteria for the electronic coupon, so it can do all the calculations necessary. Again, you just need to have a sub-department. My code, I'd use code 11, and then your POS descriptor. So the criteria is where this does change a little bit. So it's actually, the way I set this up was I want this to come off multiple shopper levels. I don't want it to just limit to one specific shopper level. So this will work for anybody unless you're in shopper level 3 and 4. If you have a promotion that you want to run in your store and you want to allow multiple shopper levels to get this promotion, I want to let shopper levels 1, 2, 4, and 5 get this, but not 3, because that's my employees. They already get a discount. The only way to do that is to exclude the shoppers that you don't want to get. So I would exclude shopper level 3 if that's your employee discount, again, assuming. The reason why is that you can make this shopper level specific. So when we look at our criteria, you can make it a shopper level. So you're like, I can just make this shopper level 2, 3, 4, 5. The problem is that you always have to meet every line of criteria. So if you try to say that this is for multiple shopper levels, it doesn't work, because you'll never be able to come in here and say shopper level 2, shopper level 3, or shopper level 2, shopper level 4, shopper level 5, just sticking with the same example I gave. Because it would have to have a shopper level 2, 4, and 5. It'd have to be a separate line of criteria for each shopper level, and you'll never have all 3 different levels in one transaction. So if you want it to be on multiple shopper levels, just exclude the ones that you don't want to get it is the easier way to go. But just so you can see, if you only have maybe 2 shopper levels and you're not worried about it, just want it to be shopper level 2, it doesn't matter about the rest, you could just set it to be specifically to 1 shopper level. That's this option right here. So like I said, for my example, I did shopper level 3 and 4 excluded, so everybody else can get this coupon. Every purchase of a penny weight, or sorry, a 0.01 weight of promo ID turkey. So this was a change from the one that I did before, where it was only one specific item. In this one, I want them to be able to choose multiple turkeys that they can get this discount on. So the reason how we do that is we can link together all the items with a promotion ID, or PID you might hear it called. And this is alphanumeric, so you can make this whatever makes sense to you. Since it's a turkey promotion, I use the word turkey. And I'll show you where you have to enter that into the items. And that way you can have like 10, 20, however many turkeys that you would like to be included in the sale. It's a weight, because I want it to come off per pound. I always do weight as a minimum measurement in 0.01 pounds. Again, I use the same, I want this to multiply and validate it criteria. I also said to accumulate this. Not sure why that added zeros. Right. So down here, my manual description, I didn't put one in here, but sorry, make sure this discount affects the item in this criteria. And then down here is my final description. So that every purchase of 0.08, a promo ID number, it's got all the zeros in front of it. I'm not sure why it's padding that with zeros right now. So we'll just take that, since we'll just go back in there, and there we go. So it's just equal to turkey. And then the last one is the 500 points. So I want to have them be those, anybody in these shopper levels, and then they also have to accumulate at 500 points. So that is going to be the criteria points accumulated. So we're just going to pick points accumulated, and I'm doing this in points program 1, and they have to have a minimum of 500 points. It's pretty simple. The details, again, this is very much the same as what we were looking at before, but just so you can see it again, what's the funding, store, and vendor? Do you want this to be a sale or a regular? So do you want it to, like I said, regular price is kind of for coupons that never end. Regular sale coupons will have an end date. So right here we have our start and end date. And then I did put a limit. I didn't say I had a limit in here, so I don't need that limit. They can actually get this on however many pounds they want. And then over here, I don't want them to just have 500 points. I want to take the 500 points away. So we want to redeem the 500 points. So over here, I'm redeeming those 500 points. So it's really almost exactly like what you just had with the coupon. You just have to pick your points program and how many points to redeem. And then the descriptor, it's just a descriptor at the end. What you want to have it show, what you want to have it say is the main item descriptor. Again, this is, you can fill out as much of this or as little as you would like. And then again, when you're done, you're just going to go ahead and save. So again, just so you can see this in Pro, I'm just going to pull this up right here. And so right here's our coupon. So it's very similar. We got the scalable flag since it's per pound. We got electronic and store coupon. I get the $1 off. And then down here I have the program, and this is where you do the points redeem. So I wanted the points redeem of 500. And down here is my coupon criteria. So coupon customer not found of 3 and 4. So shopper level not found 3 and 4. My promo ID of turkey and points program 1 and 500. So this is where you would now need to go flag the items that meet your criteria. So you would flag them with the word turkey right here. So this is the field, promo ID field right there. Like I said, otherwise called PID. So all you have to do is find the items that would qualify, and you would just type in turkey. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up. Not enough zeros. Or am I, what did I type? Oh, I see. 0, 1. I missed a 1 there. So this is, I put in the promo ID of turkey for here. And again, same idea. I want to have that scalable flag on the item for it to work properly with the $1 off per pound, and the regular price needs to be the correct price per pound. So if we're looking to do that in Triversa, just so you can see where you would go, I'm just going to back out of the coupon. So I'd go into my items master. So this is under your POS table right here. So this is your point of sale table. So I'm going to go under POS information. And I'm just going to go ahead and execute this. So that way we have some items to pull up. And you would just, you could do this in a few different ways. I'm used to tables format somewhat, so I would just come under master tables and go into POS master. It's located under coupons. And there's your promotion ID. I do like this in the fact that it shows you all the promotion IDs that are out there right now, and it shows you what coupons that this can apply for. So the turkey one I'm actually reusing in another promotion I'm going to show you. So it's got the buy 5, the pick 5. But you can, and then it also shows down here because it actually qualifies for 2. So it's really nice because that way you know if you're putting the promotion ID in here, you actually know what it qualifies for. That's just something, it's a little bit of a, I'm going to say it's a little bit of an upgrade from just SMS Pro, because this is just, you have to know it and you just have to type it in there. So, But that's where you would go ahead and enter that in here. I do believe if you wanted to go under here, you can do this in the grid, but the grid doesn't have the, oh no, it's right there, the promotion ID right there. So you can come in here and enter it here, but the grid doesn't have the ability to pull it up like it just did in the table. That's why I like the table in Versa, but you can just come in here and just like the other, you can just manually type the code in for the promotion ID. And this is just for the qualifying items. You don't have to have this in the coupon itself, but it does need to be in any items that qualify. So whatever turkeys qualify for the sale. I'm going to go ahead and pop up our point of sale again. Let me close my receipt. And so my item that I have in there is 201, 236, and we'll just say I'm buying $9.99 of it. It's on there. Doesn't come off because I still need to put a shopper level, and that shopper level needs to not be in 3 and 4, and that shopper level needs to have 500 points. So I'm going to use my Mary Peterson and go ahead and subtotal, and now $2 off. I'm getting that multiple times. $7.99 is my new price. So it will take away the 500 points. So the third coupon I wanted to go over was the Pick 5 coupon. So it's kind of a bundle. Take one of these. So I'm going to go back into our coupon. Go in here. So that is this coupon. So it's buy a turkey, stuffing, rolls, mashed potatoes, and pie, and you're going to bundle that for the value that you define. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to open up the coupon table again. And so now we're getting away from that cents per weight volume that I know I've used a bunch of times, and we're going to do a bundle price. And that bundle price is going to be $30. Like I said, I'm very generous in my lab, so I always give a pretty good deal. I am making this a manual coupon, so this is not set to be an electronic coupon. I want the customer to have to bring in a flyer maybe to get this, whatever the case may be. So the cashier is going to have to not just meet the criteria, the customer is not just going to have to meet the criteria, but they also have to hand in the coupon, and the cashier has to scan it or type in the code. Over here we have a sub-department, and as always, and over here I did define a code for 9. That's my PLU number and my POS descriptor. So down here I did all of them as a promotion ID. So that way you have a lot of options. So that way you can go and assign all the mashed potatoes to the MP promo ID. And they have to purchase one to get this. Also, because this is a bundle, all of these criteria have to have accumulate for bundle or percent. It's right there in the descriptor, right? And then I also have another criteria for pie. So any of the pies that qualify for this. That way you can have as many or as few as you need to put in there. As many as the rolls, as many for stuffing and turkeys. Going into our details, so there is that one, so going into our details, this is store funded. And again, I did do this as a sale. I generally almost always do my coupons as sale, so that way the end date does have an impact, especially when we're coming around the holidays. You're usually wanting to run it to you for a certain amount of time. Down here, I wanted to have this as a separate line item, so that way it shows the bundle price, so that is create a coupon registration. So you can copy an item registration, you can leave this blank, and it will apply like it has been to the item that we're matching with. So there's a few different options here that you can kind of play around with to see which one works for you. And they only get one. It is a limit of one per customer, one per transaction. And then the description is always just the description. So just so we can go ahead and see this coupon in Crow. Pulling it over. Oh, sorry. Keep missing it when I pull it over. Sorry about that. So right here is how it looks like in Pro. So it is a store coupon. It's not electronic, just like we just said. Here's all those promotion IDs, a quantity of one for each one, and they all have the A in it. So you can go, they have to have one of each one. They have to have one MP, one pie, one roll, one stuff, one turkey. All lines of criteria must be met. Up here's my bundle price, the $30, and my date range, my limit quantity of one. And then right here, this CB, this coupon bundle price, That's what makes it so it's a bundle. That's what makes it, instead of $30 off, it's bundling these together to be one price. That's what drives that. So again, just like you would do with the other one that I just showed, you would just go into each of those items and populate that promo ID field either in here or in Thyversa to each item that qualifies. And then they would be able to go ahead and bring this up at the front end. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop over here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put in my items. So my first item is my mashed potatoes. And I'm going to go ahead, it doesn't matter what order you put these in, by the way. I have my pumpkin pie, and then I have my rolls, my dinner rolls, and my stuffing, and then my turkey. I am mistyping everything today. I'm going to use the same turkey I had before. I had 2 turkeys that qualified, but so here's all my items in here. It's a total of $35. So when I subtotal it out, oh, I'll have to see why that, it should be giving it, oh, they have to hand in the coupon, right? So they have to manually hand in the coupon for us to go ahead and get that discount. So the cashier has to manually enter it in. When I do that, it's going to take off whatever needs to be taken off to get it to that $30 price. So in my case, it was $5.99, and now my total sale is $30. So no matter what this might have been, it could have been $40, it could have been $50, it would have adjusted the coupon to take off the proper amount to get it down to that bundle price. And then the cashier can go ahead and finish it off for that $30 price. And just so you can see, this one's on the coupon, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. It'll just say that right there. It'll give the description so that way they know exactly why they saved it, because they bundled together the right things. The last coupon I wanted to go over, I know we're going a little over time today. The last coupon I want to show is just going back to kind of a more basic coupon, just that you may be wanting to run, maybe not on turkeys, not off per pound, we'll say. It's just a BOGO. So if you're wanting to stuffing, I used as an example. So buy one, get one free for stuffing. So just so you can see how to set something like that up for some maybe side items. So again, I'm going to go right into the coupon table. So this is buy one, get one free. The way that I set this up is I actually set this up on, I'll have to show this in Pro. I did set it up in Pro. Sorry about that. Let me come in here. I set it up kind of the older way in Pro, we'll say, where you can set the package price. When you flag an item as a coupon, it changes the behavior of the package price. To do 2 for 1 means that if you purchase 2, you get 1 free. So it's a BOGO set up this way. To do this, there's a few things you have to do. So first off, you have to set the other field to enable 0, EZ, because it's going to be a $0 price up here. Always have to flag it as a coupon. Doesn't have to be electronic. I did set it to electronic. It can be a manual coupon. That's fine. But you do have to flag it as either a store coupon or vendor coupon. That changes the behavior of the package price field. So that is very important that it's flagged as a coupon before for this to work properly. And then like I said, I always set up my coupons under the sale column so it has an end date. So I just put it as a $0 price, and then the start and end date, and then the package price, like I said, you put in how many they get for free. So in this case, they get 1 for free. And how many do they purchase? 2. So this isn't purchase 2, get 1 free, it's buy 2, get 1 free. So it's a buy 1, get 1 free. So if you wanted to do like they have to purchase 2 to then get the third one free, you would change this to a 3. If it's a buy 3, get 2 free, you would change this to a 3, and then it would be $2. So this is why I specifically did it this way, because this is a lot of flexibility in here to make it more than just a buy 1, get 1 free. You can buy 2, get 1, buy 3, get 2 free, whatever it is that you're looking to do. And you just need to change it and understand these fields, that this is how many they have to purchase to get this many for free. So it's technically you are purchasing 2 to get 1 free when you're doing a buy 1, get 1. Because you have to have 2 in the transaction. And I did limit this to 1 per transaction. So this is limited to 1. Down here, I did do the promo ID again. I do the promo ID a lot, but that way you can put this on a lot of different stuffings. There's a lot of different stuffings that you can purchase, so that way they can have a variety that are included. So I did do a promo ID for the stuffings and you have to purchase 2 of them because you have to purchase 2 to get the buy one, get one, and match with this item. So just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead. It's actually the same stuffing that I use in the bundling. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to ring up 2. And since I set that to be electronic, it's going to go ahead and take off the electronic store coupon and give me 1 for free. If you are running this, by default, the system will give, and you're doing 2 different prices there's 2 different price items on here, the system will by default give the less expensive item for free. So mind these are the same exact prices, so it just applied it to the first one, but in general, if that's what's happening. So those were the main coupons I wanted to go over, just so I can show this at the end here really quickly. Sorry, where did I? There we go. I did say I would try to go over this at the end. If you're looking to build a new coupon in Thriversa, just so you can see how that works, it's right here. You can just click on New. And this is the same table that we've been working on the entire time. So you can build the coupon from this table alone, just setting the fields. The other thing is that I want to show is that code. If you have a manual code you want to put in, you are more than welcome to type in a UPC code. If you don't want to do that, the system will generate a code and the next available code if it's blank. So that is an option if you're struggling to come up with a UPC code to use for a coupon. Sometimes it's trying to hunt for one. The system will generate one, and it will not be one that's already in use for you. The other thing, I think that was all I wanted to go over. Christina, did we have any questions come in?
We do have one. It's relating to scale codes. So what if you had a scale code that was not scalable? So the example they gave is using random weight codes on cookies. Each cookie is $1, and it prints out a sticker for 2 cookies. The item is not scalable flagged in the system. But when a customer has 2 cookies and they ring it out, it's ringing out as 1 quantity for $2 instead of two cookies for 50 cents.
So it will take, if it's not scalable and we don't flag it as cents off per pound, so it would just be like a cents off, it would just take the value of what you're putting in there off. So like you wouldn't be able to do the points because it's not weighable, so we don't do per weight volume. So we just want to put the amount that they get off, and this would just come off, the dollar would come off, and you'd put the random weight decode down here as the criteria. Random weight code is the criteria. And it would just take that dollar off whatever the purchase price was. So if it was 2 cookies were $5, then it would be $4. It'd be $1 off. It's not going to do any sort of calculation based off of how many cookies are in there. It would just be this much off the price. It behaves like a normal, I would say, it behaves like any coupon behaves. It just takes the amount off the price.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, there's one more that just came in. So you can't use the quantity as the criteria then. So follow-up question to that.
You can use the quantity, like if you're wanting, they have to purchase at least 2 to get the dollar off. So you would be able to do, and we'll just set it up really quick. So if they're both in there, the issue is with this is that if they're both in not 2 separate items, it's not going to know that there's 2 items in there. It would be like you'd have to have 2 different tags to be able to know that it purchased the 2. If you're wanting it to go into the code, so it's just like, let me just put it in here. So the item sales, like I said, just assuming that the cookie is a type 2 UPC, like this, it's not going to dig into that item to know that it has 2 cookies into it. you could, because it's not going to, I mean, you could just flag the cookies as scalable, so that way it's like $3 a cookie, so it's scalable. So when they print the 6, but that can cause some confusion, especially if you have integrated scales. It's something that we could look at setting up as like a scripted coupon, so it would dig into there for the quantity, but it's not for out of the box. It would just come up with the dollar amount if you purchase this item.
So they did send another follow-up saying, but the quantity would not register as more than one if it was from the scale code and not scalable.
Yeah, it's going to register this as one item, even if there's 2 cookies in the code. Like I said, there's a few workarounds I could think of. Like I said, flagging the cookie as scalable, but if they have integrated scales and it's sending it down to the scales as scalable, it's going to confuse their people at the bakery when they're making the tag. So it's definitely something we could look at a couple ways around it, but not something that would be like out of the box.
Okay. And then another question came in, I believe this one's separate. It says, when you generate a code, does it review the alternate table as well?
Yes. Yep. So when it generates a code, it's going to, hold on. Of course, I just closed that. Let me go back in. It's going to go, and we set up it's going to make sure it's on an alternate code. It's going to make sure it's not any code in the system. It's going to usually start, you can see my system, I have it set to start with 9.6. So it's not going to be something that would generally be an alternate code, but yes, it will review both of them and make sure that it's not anywhere in use before it will create it. This one's at the end. I also didn't fully set up the coupon, so I'm not sure if it will show up. But yeah, like I said, it's usually like 0.96 and then whatever after that. And that if you wanted to change that, we could work with you to change that. It's a configuration setting, but it's going to be a pretty high number. But yes, it does check both alternate codes and regular codes.
Perfect. Are there any other questions that you guys have?
Just to put this out, I do remember what I was going to say. Any of the criteria that I brought up can be mix and match. That just, like I use shopper levels in one example and total sales. You can use and mix and match these as needed. I just tried to set up a few common ones that we get.
All right, it does not look like we have any other questions coming in. So thank you guys for attending this month's webinar. Again, next month it's going to be on November 20th at 1 o'clock. We're going to be going over item batching. You may have noticed for part of this webinar, I did open a poll for any suggestions of webinars that you guys may want to see next year. I will have that poll open next week and next month and the December webinar as well. So if there's anything that you guys are struggling with or that you think would be helpful for you or anybody else in the community, by all means, let us know and we will add it into the rotation for next year. Until then, we hope you guys have a great day and we will talk to you guys next month.